Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through my June blockchain and crypto monetized social media metrics and earnings. That's a mouthful, but yeah. So we're going to be going through all of the metrics from the various platforms that I use, at least the main platforms that I'm the most focused on. I'll share some insights and feedback as to how I've been using them and what I've seen while using them. And then more importantly, what I know you guys are really interested in is how much can you actually earn from using these platforms, mainly just from platform rewards by posting, curating, using the platforms themselves, but also you can earn from donations, etc. as well. We're going to dive into all that in just a moment after a quick word from my sponsor today. A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android. All right, thanks to my sponsor. Now let's jump right in. So, not a big month. I mean, June was not a huge month. I had a few interviews, nothing super crazy. I had a second interview with Dan Hensley from 3Speak, amazing video platform on Hive. And I talked to Dawson Botsford from Earnify, which is a fantastic way for you to check out what airdrops you might be able to claim with your Ethereum address, which I found like $3,000, so pretty significant. Definitely worth checking that out. In terms of just overall social media metrics performance, it was a pretty regular month, nothing super crazy. My follower growth has sort of slowed down on a lot of my platforms, but Rockfin and a couple other platforms were doing just ridiculously well, so it looks more or less balanced out. But I think this is kind of in line with the crash and, Bitcoin and everything going way down, so a lot less people are searching for different platforms to use and looking through the technology, and there's just not as much buzz right now. So I think naturally a lot of this is going to go back up alongside the hype, but that's why I do these reports, so that we can kind of look for patterns and trends and learn from them. So I will continue reporting on this and commenting on how that progresses. But in terms of individual metrics, I would say video views is the most significant. I've blown past 500,000 video views. The next big milestone is 1 million. I'm not even going to worry about 750,000 because I'm shooting for 1 million and I'm hoping to get there by the end of the year. And ideally 150,000 followers, which is ambitious, but I'm trying to shoot for the stars here. And ideally I would love to have like over 400,000, which is pretty reasonable to assume that'll happen. And yeah, I'm aiming for 500 episodes. Hopefully I'll be able to crack that out. I want to start increasing the amount of videos that I'm doing. I feel like I've been not doing as much as I'd like to do, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but more or less I want to be a little bit more focused on delivering you guys tutorials, guides, reviews, that type of content, less of my interviews and stuff like that, and just more focused on the original content that I was putting out. I have a lot of things in the works, so do stay tuned, but I want to actually get all that out very soon, and I feel like I've been putting it off a little bit, so I want to kind of crack down on that. And I'm also going to be taking a week off next month just to go visit my family, and hopefully that'll give me some time to kind of like reset and come back with renewed motivation and energy, because if I could, I would be putting out at least a video a day for you guys. And I've done that in the past. I just don't have the capacity to do that right now. But again, if everything works out with crypto, I will make this my full-time aspiration. Anyways, for individual platforms, just YouTube, I sort of saw a pullback recently. I'm going to blame this on the fact that they falsely community striked me, and ever since then, I've been seeing a very big pullback, less new followers, less views, everything like that. So I'm gonna say that's reasonable to assume that's partially why, but also what I said earlier. I mean, everything else is doing okay. It's just slowed down a little bit, I would say, but everything is still progressing at a reasonable rate. Namely, something that I need to call out is Rockfin. This kind of blew up out of nowhere for me. Now I'm well over like 3,500 or close to 4,000 followers. So yeah, Rockfin has been blowing up because they made a crypto specific section and there was only a couple creators at the time. I still think there's only a handful on there, but I was one of 3 that started out in that section. So once they actually got that going, because there's only 3 people, naturally we took up a lion's share of the available attention of that audience. So yeah, this essentially just goes to show that being on any platform, right? Like being distributed using tons of different platforms, any platform can pop at any moment. Even if they didn't pop, so to speak, in this instance, you know, this slight change they made where they're going to start prioritizing crypto content more had massive benefit and, you know, positive impact to me and my channel and my distribution and everything that I'm doing. And it wasn't that the platform, you know, skyrocketed in popularity or, you know, whatever it happens to be. Like there wasn't some major event where everyone got banned off of YouTube. It just so happened that they created a crypto section, and because, as you know, I'm on basically every platform, I was able to benefit from being there first, which is, again, a large reason why I do all this, to show you guys all the stuff on the ground floor, getting in early, showing you how beneficial it is to get in early, because I've always said I'm not some, you know, super popular creator and I'm not getting like crazy views on YouTube, but you can go on and just distribute everywhere and just put in the work, and that's good enough. Because again, if you looked at my YouTube views and I'm getting like 80 views to 100 views an episode, it's nothing spectacular. But when you add up everything, well, yeah, that is pretty significant, right? Because last month I got 64,000 views. And when you add everything up together, yeah, that is very significant compared to like 1,000 or whatever I got on YouTube. So it's definitely worth putting in the effort to use different platforms and take advantage of them. BitLink is another example where, while I'm not able to upload any more content, sadly, because I maxed out at, I think, 200 videos, I'm getting an insane amount of views on this platform. So, you know, just the simple act of importing my YouTube videos, because that's all I was doing, just dropping the link and then hitting import. Very simple. That's all I was doing for a very long time, and that's got me hundreds of thousands of views that I would have not otherwise had. So you always want to consider distributing as many places as you possibly can. Once you've already gone through all the work to create the content, the distribution is just a lot of copy and paste. It's kind of tedious, but if you really want to get your content out there and you're not already famous or whatever, yeah, you're going to have to put in that extra work to actually get that distribution. A lot of people who start creating content have a slightly, I would say, grandiose expectation that you've put in all this work to make this thing, and because you put in so much work, everyone is just going to somehow find it and appreciate it so much, and you're just going to blow up. But that's rarely ever the case, because how are people going to find that content? There is so much noise. And again, that's part of why you want to be on all these platforms, to cut through the noise, or at least to reach as many people as you possibly can, considering that a lot of these platforms are much less noisy than YouTube. Anyways, everything is progressing along pretty normally. I did add Rockfin to this, and I will be tracking that as we go forward. LBRY has slowed down a little bit, unfortunately. It's probably largely connected to the fact that their cryptocurrency LBC has dropped a very, very large amount, like an insane amount. But given they bounce back, whether it's just everything bouncing back or them beating the SEC case that's currently ongoing, I think we'll see a big gain there, and that will bounce back very very quickly if we see something like that. Read.Cash is pretty consistent. A lot of these have been pretty consistent. Torum and noise.cash continue to be the fastest growing from month to month. I mean, obviously, aside from Rockfin right now with its crazy burst of new followers that I've gotten. So that's been really good. And I will be reporting on this as we go forward. In terms of everything else, not a lot has happened. As I already mentioned, the interviews that we did, I'm always working with new sponsors and stuff. You can always see this here when I upload this to my LinkedIn. And now for the part that I know you guys are really the most interested in, which is the earnings report. So in June, sadly, this was a bit of a dismal month. But as I compare the month over month a little bit later, you'll see that this isn't the worst month. And there's going to be months where you do earn less, but you've always got to consider, even when you are earning a lot less, if it's simply because of price, if you're holding and the price bounces back, then there's no issues, right? Even though it's 700, 600 this month, if everything goes back to the way that it was, a few months ago, then this might be looking more like, 1,000, 2,000 even. So, you've always got to keep that in mind, that the price is obviously going to have a massive impact on how much you're earning, because this is always just as of the first of the month. Actually, today, there was a huge gain in the crypto market, which is fantastic to see, but it's not really reflected here because all these values come from July 1st is when I do this. So, Publish OX, yes, it's down, but it's still fairly consistent in what I've been getting. Brave browser, sadly, is a lot less, but that's kind of in line with just, the bare basics. The times when I was getting a lot more BAT was really just because of donations. So hopefully all you brave donators out there are getting back on the wagon soon, but if not, that's okay. That's kind of in line with expectations. LBRY, as I mentioned, the price has dropped so drastically that this went from being by far my largest earner to just one of the average earners in the pile. But again, I don't think this is going to be the case for the long term. I think this is kind of a short term thing. But again, a lot of this is going to come back down to how the SEC case plays out. So either way, I still have really high hopes for LBC and the platform as a whole, because LBRY and Odyssey are amazing platforms to be using, even if not for earning, if simply just for censorship resistance and just having everything backed up and, good to go. I will say, though, only 15,000 out of 34,000 followers of mine on LBRY are actually validated, which means that they are not able to earn from watching content. And I'm not able to earn, or any creator is able to earn from their views. So it's a lose-lose. I'm not earning LBC. You're not earning LBC. Everyone should just validate their account and make everyone's lives easier. Plus, when I hit specific milestones, or tiers rather, of how many people have actually validated and followed me, I get a little bonus chunk of LBC as well. So you would be doing me a favor and everyone a favor, including yourself, by actually validating on LBRY. So that's just a little PSA for you guys. Hive is continuing to do all right. Again, it is pretty down as well. So is LeoFinance, but I think these are going to bounce back very, very soon. I think all of this is kind of just in line with what we've been seeing in the market. And I still have very high hopes for October around that time. And I'm still investing with that in mind. Cost.tv, this is still doing all right. I mean, the thing about Coast.tv is it's kind of hit or miss. Like, either I'm getting $3 for a video or 1 cent. So yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. Read.Cash and noise.cash are by far my best earners if you combine them for Bitcoin Cash. They are the best, at least in terms of platform rewards, right? I don't have to get donations, and I can just post and use the platform as I normally do. Very, very easy. And I'm earning a very good chunk of money. And the best part is that there's no issue with this money. Like, it's not like Bitcoin Cash is inflating and the inflation is being paid to us. This is just pure donation based. They're eventually going to try to bring it to where Read.Cash has like ads, and then you can get paid off of ads and all these different things. But currently they were funded with well over $1 million worth of BCH. So they can keep this up for a very, very long time. And that was pretty much 100% funded by Mark DeMeasel. So you can always give your thanks to him. He's doing amazing things in the Bitcoin Cash social media community at the very least. Den.social. Yeah, I mean, Den.social's okay. It's kind of the same thing again, where it's hit or miss with the earnings. Like, sometimes I'll get like 154 votes, and sometimes I'll get 6,000 votes. I'm not totally sure how the meta of that goes, because sometimes I'll see posts like 8,000 upvotes, and it's just a picture of a beer, and it just says, "I tried this beer." That seems like spam to me, and my assumption is there's like vote rings where people are voting each other up to like just get more money, kind of like what we saw on SoMe when that was actually kind of like running and working properly. But you know, it still works. It's a good model. It's fairly decentralized, so I still recommend using Den. I would just say that, like, don't have super crazy expectations going in. I mean, the good thing too is that just by holding your MTR, you're also going to earn passively. So you don't even have to stake like you would with like Hive or Steam. So that's also really nice. DTube. Unfortunately with DTube, when you're trying to actually withdraw, and I guess this is the same with Den.social, with all the fees and everything attached to withdrawing from their network onto the Ethereum network and trade on Uniswap, there's a lot of fees throughout that whole process. And with Den.social, I ended up spending like $30 to $40 every time I wanted to try to withdraw. So you're gonna have to be well in the profit to ever consider withdrawing. So that is kind of one of the biggest problems I see with this, with the earnings reports, is that a lot of times I can't actually get this money because the fees alone are almost equal to what I'm earning. So you have to kind of save up for a few months and then pull out. But you know, the prices could change and a lot could happen. So it's always important to keep all that in mind. But yeah, for DTube and Den.social, that's the case that I see a lot. Moving on to BitClout. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be tracking BitClout going forward. I've decided that I don't want to actually tacitly endorse BitClout for being a place where you can earn, because unfortunately, out of all these platforms, this is really the only one where I'm completely relying on donations, and more so than donations, investment from my followers. So if you're not totally familiar with BitClout, you're not earning just from using the platform. In fact, to use the platform, you're always spending clout to be able to just perform actions. And the way that you actually earn crypto is that other people have to invest in my token, and then I get a small percentage of clout from the rewards or the profits or whatever from them buying my token. And then I also get some of my token as well. The problem is that, say I ever wanted to sell my token, I would have to dump on my own followers and investors. So you're kind of almost trapped to never really be able to get that profit out. But luckily they give you some clout at the very least so that you can have some profits without trying to screw over your own followers and investors. So I'm never going to sell my my Scott C business tokens on BitClout. So if you're holding them, that's fine. I'm not going to be posting on the platform anymore. I earned $203 just from people investing, and I mean, it wasn't really any of my followers. It was just like basically random people on BitClout who thought, oh, like, you know, Scott's coming on the platform now, so let's try to benefit. And that's all it really is. A lot of BitClout is you trying to convince other people to buy your token in hopes that other people will buy your token in hopes that they can profit off of that. But there's not really much of a use to it. And if you want to sell, you're going to dump on your own followers. So it just really is not a good situation. And as I said, I'm never going to sell, so there's no issues. If you do want to keep it or whatever, I'm not going to screw anyone over, but I'm not going to be reporting on it going forward. I mean, especially because this month I made like a couple dollars. And unless you're actively trying to get that investment, you're not really going to make money on here. So I just don't really like the concept, and I don't want to be promoting it to you guys as the best way to earn, because according to this looks like the best way to earn because I earned the most on BitClout. And while it does make up a lion's share of my earnings for the month, I just don't think it's the best way to go about it. You're better off earning from posting quality content that the site rewards you for, or other people on the site reward you for through the site. But I don't like the zero-sum game where I actually have to get money from someone that they paid for, get them to invest in me, and then they might lose money or whatever it happens to be. So I'd much prefer to focus on platform-based rewards and models like that. And I earned a small amount from YouTube as well, which is always going down now month over month because again, they false flag community striked me, and that's obviously going to affect everything from monetization to new follower recommendations and all that kind of stuff. So so I'm dealing with that, but you know, it's not a concern or anything like that. I think a lot of this is going to vamp back up in the next few months as things start to get back on the bullish hype train. But yeah, so I'm done with BitClout. That's my personal take. I wanted to still get in there and do like a legitimate month of actual using it, to be fair, and I did that. And while I still earned, you know, a reasonable amount, I don't think it's the most morally upright and ethical company in the way they set up and the pre-mine and everything that happened. So that is my conclusion for that. And I'll be focused on trying to earn Ray tokens from Rockfin, getting earning Pcoin on PocketNet and Yup on Yup.io. So there's a couple new platforms that I'm going to introduce into the mix over the next month, and I will be sharing with you guys all the earnings that I got in July from using these new platforms. So I'm really excited to bring you guys those new platforms in the next update, so definitely stay tuned for that. This is a breakdown of all of the different cryptocurrencies to actually show you the percentage and just give you a bit of a visualization there. So as you can see, Read.Cash is 25%, BitClout was 29%, LBRY was 10%. So fairly reasonable values. Even when you're only getting $6, $8, I still think it's worth your time, because you're really just copying and pasting the same thing across a bunch of tabs if you're actually going and posting to a bunch of platforms. But I mean, I go way extra than I would ever expect anyone else to do. I do about 45 platforms right now. And you've also got to consider, even though I'm only earning on these ones, that posting everywhere and promoting and getting people to go back and embedding YouTube videos and embedding my LBRY video, it's all going to add up to what I actually end up with. So you're only seeing sort of the end result and the best of the best, which I'm recommending, but not all of the little small platforms that went in to actually make this work. So I do think it is important to at least give those a shout out, and those are all listed here. Not the most easiest to read, but this gives you some idea of the plethora of platforms that I'm usually trying to test and use. Things change. I mean, like Parler is, I don't know if that's still working properly right now, but in terms of my total breakdown, you can see how things have progressed since March of 2020. That's when I've been actually tracking every single month's earnings month over month. So luckily, I mean, this wasn't actually my lowest month. I've had multiple months that were lower than this. So, This isn't a low or anything, but it is pretty disappointing to see a $743 month after only in March making $5,000, which was an insane month. And you can obviously see how big of a drop this is here. Though the average monthly income every single month has been going up. And that's the most important thing, that over the long term, I'm seeing a general positive trend. So that is important to note, because as I've always said, it's really good to get in early, but it's also very important to be consistent and to keep at it and keep growing and keep doing more. So I hope this will keep going up on average, and I will bounce back very soon. Again, I do plan to start putting out more content again as I used to. I want to get back into dailies, ideally, if I possibly could manage it. But right now, that's just not possible based on my time capacity. But if I'm able to make a ridiculous amount in the next few months, then maybe I could just do this full time. That's always kind of on the table, but I am going to try to be focused more on guides, reviews, and tutorials over the next little while, getting back to some of the original content that I was most focused on, and bringing you that amazing stuff to help you guys learn, earn, and do everything crypto and blockchain. So anyways, let me know what you guys thought of this. Where are you earning the most? What is your favorite crypto monetized social platform or blockchain social platform? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments below. Where are you earning? What's your favorite cryptocurrency? All that great stuff. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching to the very end. If you did, I would be even that much more grateful if you could comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below. That way I know you watched to the very end. And I tend to give out about a small tip of LBC to people who comment that on my library video. So thank you so much again for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.